I wanted to add just a little story here that I thought might be of interest to some. Uh, it happens that last Saturday we were invited to go to Richmond, BC, and we were supposed to see the unveiling of a life-sized statue of a horse named Minoru. In Richmond, British Columbia, the Minoru Park is named after this horse, and the horse won the first British Derby for King Edward VII, and afterward the horse Minoru then became very famous throughout the empire. And in Richmond, when they built the first racetrack, they named it for Minoru. Although Minoru was not a Canadian horse that had never lived in Canada, he had become quite famous for winning the first Derby. And so the track was named for him. And recently, a Serbian man named Milan Ilic agreed to finance what the city wanted, a full-size statue of Minoru at the entrance to the park. So a Russian, rather famous now Russian sculptor, Sergei Trashchenko, was making this full life-sized statue of the horse. And he made this smaller model, which was the prototype from bronze. And when they were going to unveil the horse, Sergei, who was a close friend of ours for many years, asked us to come down for the unveiling. So Vladiko Varlam and I went, and it so happened that when we came in, everyone was given a number. And as a door prize from the draw for everyone who came for the unveiling, this bronze prototype was going to be given. I happened to have won it. So, and what's interesting about it, for me anyway, is that Minoru won the British Derby, and afterwards he was purchased in 1913 by a very wealthy Russian nobleman to be used as a brood stallion and taken to Russia. Then after the revolution, when Kerensky took over and the civil war began between the communists and the socialists, General Denikin, Anton Denikin, was head of the White Army, at least in the West. And he requisitioned all the horses in the region where he was. And one of those was Minoru. So somehow Minoru also ended up then with General Wrangel in the south of Russia, who was a deputy to General Anton Denikin. And Wrangel had an area of Russia which he had pretty well kept the communists, or liberated from the communists, from the Red Army. And he asked Metropolitan Anthony Kropavitsky, by that time was in Constantinople, in Greece, and he asked Metropolitan Anthony to come back and reorganize the church in that area. So Metropolitan Anthony went back to the area controlled by General Wrangel, and of course the White Army lost to the Bolsheviks and were driven out, and everyone had to evacuate, including again Metropolitan Anthony. And this horse Minoru was one of the few horses that was taken in that evacuation in the ship where the officers were, and where Metropolitan Anthony Kropavitsky was as well. So this little connection with the horse Minoru was interesting to me, because we'd only just published the biography of Metropolitan Anthony, which we released last week on Friday. And on Saturday I won this horse, this bronze sculpture of the horse Minoru, and the full-size sculpture will be in Minoru Park in Richmond, British Columbia. But somehow this connection to Russia and with Metropolitan Anthony and with the last evacuation of the anti-Bolsheviks from Russia, I found it a little interesting. I just thought I would share that with you. It's a beautiful sculpture. Sergei Trashchenko does mostly now a lot of monumental sculptures, and he's won many contracts for these monumental sculptures. And the Minoru statue is extremely beautiful and well done. The muscle texture for a racehorse is all perfectly as it should be, and it was quite a thrill to win this bronze, the prototype for the main statue. So and to know the story of Minora's evacuation to Constantinople from Russia, together with General Wrangel, Metropolitan Antony Kropotkin, and many other notable Russians who were marked for death by the Bolsheviks. So I thought I would pass that on as a little footnote. So thank you and God bless.